one thing we could say is President Trump needs to do what he needs to do to make sure that to do as much as possible for the midterms not to be a bloodbath against the Republicans, because even if you're disappointed with what President Trump is doing, well, he has already done more than what against the Islamic Republic, more than what any Democrat has ever done or ever will, right? So it makes sense for him to prioritize saying things and doing things that will bring the oil price down, and maybe even his harsh statements against Israel needs to get the people who might be thinking like, oh, is our country being controlled by Israel, getting those people off his back. Maybe it would be good for him in the elections for President Trump to seem like he's, behind the scene. You could see Israel's and United States army is getting more and more integrated, so that's what the reality is. So him saying that at least will get some of the people, it will have some positive effect on the elections, maybe, right? So everything he does might actually be in our benefit, both Iranians and Israelis, because it would be always worse for us if a Democrat comes to office, right? That's one. Two, there's nothing that is really binding the Americans. This MOU is not a deal. And even if it was a deal, it's not going to bind the Americans to hold back or not do anything, right? This MOU is designed in a way. Okay, be careful not to touch the mic like that's lamping. Yeah. What was I saying? So this MOU is designed. So Ghalibaf is basically selling out the rest of the Islamic Republic, and the Americans are getting so much damage on different segments of the Islamic Republic through Ghalibaf, more than what they could have ever achieved through military operations. This guy is selling everyone out. He's making the IRGC weaker, the supreme leadership weaker, and all that for a very cheap price of an MOU that we could try to save face. So whatever you need to write in that MOU for this guy to be able to say, like, guys, look, this is not that bad. Just give him that for his PR agenda, because he's basically giving the Americans so much, right? And also, people keep treating this like if it's a deal. It's not a deal. This is an MOU, and we are not even at all close to a deal. And we should be judging everything based on what happens rather than anything that is getting signed. Also, two other defense of United States actions could be that it's easy to destroy so many things of the Islamic Republic. It's not easy to destroy their suppressing capability, even if you keep bombing things, right? So with all these bombardments, the conditions for an uprising is not there yet, even with all the destruction against the Islamic Republic. And maybe the conditions for a final uprising of the Islamic Republic can actually be done by weakening the IRGC through Ghalibaf and through also supporting the private sector. That's how you weaken the IRGC to the point where the Iranian people could have their uprising. And this might take a longer time, but it's the only way. Also, no amount of bombardments and military operations will give you an efficient way to go and get the uranium out in a forceful way. This negotiations and ceasefire and the MOU and all of that is the only shot that Americans have to go get the enriched uranium out without putting American soldiers at so much risk. So these are all the list of defenses that I had for United States. What do you think? And also, then after this, let's go to the comment. Let me know what you think, and then after that, let's go to the. Yeah.
So, and by the way, everyone, we're going to be short today. Armin has an interview in 40 minutes. I don't think I'll have time to stay alone. I might have for a bit. We'll see. So just a heads up.
Yeah, you could stay a little bit, or as long as you want. After I go, you could keep talking to the chat if you want.
Yeah, it's about other things. Okay, so a couple things about that. First of all, so now I'm gonna go back into what I started saying about Lebanon. Israel does not actually drop whole buildings wholesale because there's Hezbollah operative in them. We drop very exact munitions into the room or the specific house where they are without touching anything else. And there are many pictures you can see online of what that looks like. Nothing but the specific floor, meaning that specific house, is damaged. And that's why Hegseth, and that's also what we did on the day of the signing. And that's why Hegseth said, Israel's response was very restrained, which is true. Trump saying that is selling Israel out, full stop. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to mince words, because it like pushes, okay, whatever the legitimacy damage to Israel is going to fall. Like, we'll see what happens in the general elections and who's going to be the representative. Is Tucker Carlson going to be a representative? Like, comments like this make it more likely that Tucker Carlson will end up running and winning. So weekend bingo says Guy has TDS. Absolutely do not have TDS. I am criticizing Trump on a thing that is bad that he did. I'm not saying everything he does is bad. I constantly defend Trump's moves, and you have to be able to distinguish between TDS and just criticizing Trump. And it's also not helpful to him because, well, if Israel is doing that, then why have you been supporting them all this time? Would be the obvious question. Like, Trump actually doesn't have an incentive to do that, because he's been supporting Israel and backing Israel ever since he came into office in its wars. And if this is the way Israel operates, then what the fuck? But also, even if
what about the argument that he needs to stay there to get the isocox off his back before the midterm? And then
he needs to lie. He can say,
yeah, I mean,
he can say a lot of.
He does.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
He did. Yeah, I mean, that's the art of the deal. Is the art of the deal apparently includes a lot of bluffing.
So obviously, I mean, he would bluff in negotiations. I don't. I mean, this is not really a negotiation.
Yeah, he's bluffing.
I guess
he's okay. So here's the thing. Let me. I'm steelmaning him. Okay, somebody could argue this is actually good for Israel, because President Trump is trying to do with the Islamic Republic, with negotiations, something that you cannot do with war, right? He's very effectively weakening the IRGC using Ghalibaf. And for Ghalibaf to be able to sell this to its own internal audience, people in the Islamic Republic need to believe that this is bad for Israel, right? So people in Israel being upset about this makes it good for President Trump, because then it's more, this negotiations is more sellable to the people who Ghalibaf has to convince, right? So that's one thing. And also for the midterms, it might be helpful for President Trump to be like, look, I'm not an Israeli puppet. I'm doing things that makes Israelis upset, right? So in two ways, this benefits Israelis. First, it avoids getting a Democrats win too much. One, two, it's disarming the Islamic Republic in a way that no military operations can.
So I agree with that sentiment. I think it's great for Trump to criticize Netanyahu and to say, I disagree with him here. He can be upset. We have our different interests. When he says, Bibi will listen, like, I'll make the decision, Bibi will follow suit, that's great. I'm really glad he says that. And that also makes people here upset, because that shows that Trump is not in Bibi's pocket. If anything, it's the other way around. And most people who are not already pre-invested in, Israel controls the US, are going to not fall for that, because, well, I see he constantly, like, they have fights and so on. Saying that Israel is not careful enough with civilians is a whole other thing that is completely unnecessary and untrue, and he knows it's untrue, and and damages both Israel and him.
Yeah, but at the same time, if it's so bad, then it will be so bad that it will be convincing to a pro-regime Iranian audience. It needs to be really bad for it to be convincing. Like, because
I think it's
people need to
convincing.
think
It
like
can be
people need to believe that, okay, this is like Trump is turning against Israel, and for the Islamic Republic followers to fall for this.
I think it just makes it worse, because if you know this, then it's like, oh, I knew this. Now you're saying it. You're even admitting it. You're admitting that you have been helping a regime that does this, that kills civilians, and is way too.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Like, nobody's gonna come. Like, nobody's. People attack Israel for killing civilians. They're not gonna be like, oh, they're not. Nobody gonna be like that. Not that many people are gonna be like, well, but then why did you support them? Like, people don't connect the dots like that.
No, the people who say that Trump is a Netanyahu puppet. This, if anything, this kind of statement would at least say, "Oh, then you were their puppet up until now because you knew this and you kept supporting them."
But those are
And
already lost people. Those are already like, who gives a shit? Those are people are already against us. Like the people who are anti-Israeli, them having more ammunition. Like, it's not like we're losing anybody that we cared about.
no, but that's the point. If there are people in the middle, then when they hear Trump say this, then they become anti-Israel. When they hear Trump say Netanyahu's a bitch in so many terms, in so many words.
True. That's I accept that. That hurts Israel because your public image matters, especially in the United States. But I think that if Trump is successful with disarming the Islamic Republic with the negotiations, the benefit to Israel from that outweighs the cost.
Yes, but right now people, will believe it when we'll see it after the way the MOU looks.
Yeah, but
People
maybe it's
extrapolate.
good that it's good. Maybe it's good for Israelis to be able to show Israelis are upset, so that the pro-regime Iranians, at least a good portion of them, fall for the idea that this is in their benefit.
And again, so I agree with that as a principle. I think the way to do that is not to delegitimize Israel in the eyes of people who are on the fence. You can legitimize Israel
What if
by
that's the only
saying,
way? What if that's the only way? Like,
I
you have to go
I'd
that
have
extreme.
to. I think the burden of proof is on you to show that that's the only way, and that other ways aren't good enough. To me, I don't see a
Well,
reason
I'm
to.
not. No. The burden of proof is not on me, because I'm not claiming that this is the case. I'm claiming that this is one of the options that could exist.
So okay,
So if I was if I was saying that this is what's happening, then the burden of proof would be on me. But if I'm saying that this is not impossible and should be considered as an option, then the burden of proof is not on me.
yeah, so I would say, okay, maybe it's an option.
My name is Armin Navabi. I'm an Iranian political analyst with decades of experience fighting the Islamic regime inside and outside of Iran. Make sure you follow me for more, and also make sure you join our discussion group. I'm there almost every single day. Come talk to me there and the rest of the people there in our group calls. It's a great place to meet and talk to people who like talking about politics. The link is in the description and or in the bio. You could also get there by scanning the QR code on the screen. See you there.